And welcome back to another edition of the 2-Point Conversion NFL DFS podcast, your Week 13 DraftKings preview, 16 games on the docket. Before we get started, check in with my co-hosts as always. You can find Bucks on Twitter at BPSnow11. Bucks, how you doing?
Good to be here, Bubba.
Good. And James, fresh off a tasty Italian dinner tonight. You can find James on Twitter at paydirt_DFS. James, how we doing?
Great, man. Olive Garden's fantastic as always. The once a year that I go.
Unlimited breadsticks for the win.
Oh, yeah.
All right, let's just dive right into this. Like I said, 16 games. There's no more buys the rest of the year, so we're going to be busy. We'll start Thursday night in Bucks' backyard. Well, not his backyard, but his team's backyard. Washington at Dallas. Both teams actually played a week ago, so it's a random Thursday with a full week off. Dallas 1-point home dogs, totals 45. Bucks, kick us off in Dallas.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be I have a couple thoughts on this game. One, both defenses are Dallas is not good. Sean Lee is out, so that's bad for them. But a couple guys that I love Cousins, obviously. He has 7 games this year where he's hit 20 points or right around 20 points or higher, and he has 3 games where he's been around 30 or higher. So he has the opportunity to do that again. Dak Prescott is $5,700, and I honestly think this is a good spot for him. I understand Zeke's not there, but Alfred Morris should be able to skins a little bit. Plus, it's a revenge game, so at $5,700, I think Dak is actually a good play this week. But if I had to choose one, I'm going Cousins. As far as running backs, I like Samaje Perine. He's shown what he can do with the volume. I'm not a huge fan of that price point. I'm avoiding Dallas running backs because Rod Smith and Alfred Morris are in a timeshare. Although $600, I think that they give Alfred Morris the nod playing against DC. I love Jamison Crowder this week. Love him. He will be a core in a lot of my lineups. He's getting a ridiculous amount of targets. And with Sean Lee out covering the middle, him being a slot guy, I like him this week. Defenses I'm not touching.
Yep, that works for me. What do you got on this one, James?
Yeah, so I kind of touched on the Dallas situation earlier on my radio show, and I was talking about how if Dallas didn't have any name recognition on their wide receivers, they might be considered the worst wide receiver core in the league. Des Bryant can't get separation. Terrence Williams is only out there to block. Jason Witten cannot get past 5 yards without an oxygen tank. Dak Prescott doesn't have any good options on this offense. So when Zeke is gone, defenses can just tee off on him because the wide receivers can't get open. So I don't like Dak Prescott at 5,700, and I won't like him until they start using Bryce Butler more or until Zeke comes back, because this offense can't move with the weapons it has. And their defense is just as bad. So obviously Kirk Cousins at 6,600 is firmly in play. He's been a fantastic quarterback all year in terms of fantasy, and even in real life after the first 3 games, he's still been good. At 6,600, I think that this is a fair price. I don't necessarily like having him on the road in Dallas, but Dallas sucks. So I like Samaje Perine at 6,100. I think that he's still underpriced. I do think that there are other running backs that you need to consider in the 6K options, which we'll get to later, but I don't mind Samaje Perine at all. He's exceeded 100 yards rushing in his last 2 games, and that's worth something. At tight end, I think that you go back to Vernon Davis this week after he disappointed really, really bad last week. Nobody will be on him, especially with Dallas being pretty good against tight ends. So Vernon Davis is a fine option for me. And then I don't like either defense. If I'm taking one, it's going to be the Redskins, but I'm not going to pay $3,500 for it. So the only options that I really want here, I like Kirk Cousins and his receiving options, whichever one you want to pair him with. I think all are fine because he spreads around plenty. And Vernon Davis, if you would like to go there.
Yeah, you guys hit on all the points there. You're either playing the full week and you're smashing the Redskins, or you're completely fading the game. You're not just picking a piece or two out of this. It's Cousins, P. Ryan, and then Crowder and Doxson. The Dallas defense ranks 26th in the league against wide receiver 1 and wide receiver 2. So take your pick there. Both horrible. They're bad against the tight end. I think it's a great bounce back for Vernon, like you guys said. So we're all on the same page there to pound the Redskins. And I agree. I won't touch Dallas the way they are right now. Not until something changes. Their best receiver might be Bryce Butler, like you said, James. And it's a shame that they can't use him at all for some reason. But moving on to the first game on the main Sunday slate. You got Minnesota at Atlanta, one of the higher totals on the slate. Atlanta -3 point home favorite, totals around 47. Very intriguing game here. James, kick us off in Atlanta.
This game is hard for me, man. I think that Case Keenum is probably the better quarterback to take in this game. Matt Ryan, even with Julio Jones smashing last week, Matt Ryan still hardly hit value, and it depends on what value threshold you're looking at. He just has not been good for fantasy this year. He's averaging 17 per game. You really need 20 plus from your quarterback, and I don't have any inclination to believe that he's going to throw for 300 yards on this Minnesota defense. Case Keenum has been good. He's at 6K against an Atlanta defense that has a good pass rush, but Keenum has been good about getting away from the pocket. The one thing I will say about that is that I saw a stat from, it might have been Beerswater or it might have been Barrett, or one of the PFF guys, that showed that the percentage of the time that Case Keenum has been pressured and not sacked is like 30 times over average. So he's getting away really, really lucky in some of these situations. I'm not sure how long it'll continue. I don't know if it comes crashing down next year, but their O-line is not good. They're allowing a lot of pressure. He's just getting away somehow. So I think Case Keenum's fine. I don't really like Matt Ryan. At running back, we have Atlanta with Freeman healthy again and Coleman, and then we have Minnesota with Murray and McKinnon. And I don't think that you can touch any of them for the prices that they're at. Devontae Freeman at 5,700 is probably the best option, but against Minnesota's front line, that's tough. Wide receiver, Julio Jones, questionable, got a huge price hike, goes up against Xavier Rhodes. You can color me uninterested in that one, especially since everyone will be on him after his explosion last week. Adam Thielen is fantastic. Steph Diggs is fantastic. I prefer Stephon Diggs for his upside, but Thielen has been super consistent. I don't really like any of the tight ends. And then for the defenses, 2,700 for the Vikings defense is incredible. And that's probably going to be one of the cheaper defenses that I use on the week. They haven't been great this year, but they still get turnovers like no one's business. Matt Ryan's not very good this year.
Yeah, I agree with pretty much all of that. I'm big on Keenan. I love him at 6,000. I don't have the exact numbers in front of me, but last Thursday, he like half his scrambles and half of his just dropbacks, he was basically like 40% passer on both of them. Like his numbers are identical, basically, scrambling or not scrambling. So it was really, really good out of the pocket and in the pocket. He's running for touchdowns at 6K. I like him a lot in this matchup because Minnesota's going to have to score to keep up, because I do feel their defense is in trouble. They have been bad on the road. They've given up 23 to the Lions, 30 to the Skins, 16 to Cleveland, 17 to the Bears, and 26 to Pittsburgh. That's all their road games, so they can be scored upon. So Keenum will have to do some damage. Thielen and Diggs, I'd rather go Diggs, just like you said. I think he's really due for a big, big breakout game here. Rudolph at 45, it's steep for some, but I think he'll get overlooked by people paying up. He could be in for a nice game against a team that struggles against the tight end. Atlanta's going to score. I can't go there. I don't know where to go there. I really don't. So it's tough for me. I'm going with Vikings in this game, but I won't play their defense, if that makes any sense. So, Bucks, what do you got on this one?
Yeah, I'll keep it quick. I'm not a fan of Ryan or Keenum really in this game. Ryan has had a really disappointing year, and like Julio went bananas last week, and he barely hit value. Disappointing. So not a huge fan there. I'm not touching any of the running backs. Wide receivers, I am going with Diggs in GPP formats. I am going to $5,600. I think Julio gets shadowed pretty hard, and it is Julio, so he's going to get his still $8,600, which is just ridiculous against the Vikings. So I love Sanu at that price. One core play this game, though, is going to be Kyle Rudolph. He targets the game, and I think it's going to funnel to him in this spot. So I really like Kyle Rudolph this game.
Yep, I agree. I think Rudolph's going to be way low owned too. It's going to be a good play. Detroit at Baltimore. Baltimore, 3-point home favorites. Total's 41. I'll give this real quick. It's Ravens defense at $3,100 for me. That is way too cheap for pretty much the best, if not like Jags are the best, but one of the top 3 or 4 defenses in all of football. So I'll take the Ravens at 3,100. If you want to correlate it with Alex Collins at 45, go for it. Other than that, I don't want much in this game. Both teams, I see this just being a bleed-out game and a really slow game. Bucks, what do you have? Detroit, Baltimore.
I'm not a huge. This is an interesting game to me because I'm not a huge Ravens fan. Well, typically I'm not a Ravens fan, but I mean, yes, their defense is good. But if you look at who they've played and when they've played them, a few good opponents. They played Cleveland, Cincinnati, Pittsburgh when they struggled, Oakland when they struggled, Chicago, Miami, Tennessee, Green Bay, Houston. I mean, they haven't been playing good teams. And I'm not saying is a good team. I'm just saying their defense is not as amazing as it has to be. At least that's my opinion. So I personally like a few Detroit options here. A very low-owned play is Stafford at $5,800. You know he's going to throw it all over the place either way. So I do like Stafford this game as a really low-owned GPP play. I am interested, not this game, but I really want to see Danny Woodhead get back into the mix. But I can't play him. I like Theo Riddick at $3,400 because I think that Stafford's going to toss it to him quite a bit. As far as wide receivers go, I mean, and Marvin Jones at 6K don't really interest me because there's a lot of other players at that same price point on the slate that I like. 4K is interesting because I think he can get behind this defense. So those are the only real options in the receiving game. And then $3,100 is super interesting to me. So I'm going to be looking at him on how I just don't know if I can take anybody with Flacco throwing the ball.
Yep.
Flacco is not.
Yeah,
that's the kicker there. James, what do you got on this one?
I don't really want anybody in this game. Baltimore, right, they haven't had a hard schedule by any means this year, but at home, I think they have one of the best homestand defenses in the league, averaging less than 20 points against them at home over the last 2 seasons. So better at home. And Detroit is a team that plays a lot slower on the road. They know that they prefer to have Stafford try to run no huddle, but their no huddle is kind of like this half huddle, half just stand at the line and wait for a play call, and they use up a lot of clock. So this game seems like it's going to be really slow to me. I could shooting out though with Stafford against each other, so I don't hate that in GPPs. I will say that we have 2 very good corners in this game. We have Jimmy Smith for Baltimore, and we have Darius Slay for Detroit. So it's really hard for me to like anybody in this game. I did want to mention one thing quick. I don't think anybody has noticed that the emergence of Marvin Jones has taken away all of Theo Riddick's upside.
Yeah, he's gone.
I don't think I haven't seen anybody talking about it, but that's the reason why Theo Riddick has years. They actually have a full wide receiver group to utilize rather than just having Golden Tate. They have a full wide receiver group, so Theo Riddick isn't necessary. So I think that as his price keeps going down, I'm going to continue to fade him if people want to have him. He might be popular this week because of Baltimore's pass defense, but I don't like Theo Riddick this year because of Marvin Jones. To sum it up, I think Baltimore's defense is good. I think that Detroit's defense is good. it's really just the defenses that I want in this game. I don't like the running back options, and I don't like the quarterback, so I can't like the wide receivers.
Yeah, it's an ugly game. Let's go to another one. New England at Buffalo. Buffalo 8.5-point home dogs. Totals 48.5. New England, I believe, has the highest total on the entire slate. This should be awesome. Bucks, kick us off on the Gronk special.
Yeah, I mean, you can't ever say that Tom Brady's a fade. So at $7,800, I could. Not the greatest spot in the world. To be honest with you, I really like this spot. He's $5,400. He's going to run for 50, 60 yards, and he's going to have to sling it to keep up. I like the spot he's in. As far as who to go to with him, Zay Jones at $4,600 is there. Deontay Thompson at $3,400 is interesting because he can get behind that defense. Really, depending on the injury news for Charles Clay, and I think he'll be fine to play the game, but I really like Charles Clay in this game at $4,100. So I like that for Buffalo. On the other side of the ball, Gronk had a Gronk game last week, just crushed it. $7,300 is though for a so I'm not sure if I will go there this week. As far as receivers for New England, $700 for Brandon Cooks is super pricey. So it's probably going to hurt me, but I'm fading all of New England this week.
James, what are your thoughts on this one?
I think this is hard, man. I like New England. I like the spot that New England is in. But I just don't think that, one, I don't think that Buffalo can keep up. And two, it's so hard to guess who Tom Brady is going to go to. There is a stat out there. I don't know if you guys have seen Gronkowski's stat line every single time that he plays Buffalo.
He crushes.
It's either 100 yards or a touchdown or both of those things happening in every single game he's ever played in Buffalo. It's hard to fade that, man. And he when he's healthy, he's just an absolute monster. If you have interest in New England, make a whole bunch of different New England stacks and just have Tom Brady and then one of Brandon Cooks, one of Gronkowski, one of Amendola, one of all of his pass options, and just hope that you hit the nuts with the other players. Like, I don't know who I can suggest to go with Tom Brady, but you should play Tom Brady. And that's an annoying thing. I think that you also need to start considering Rex Burkhead as a legitimate option in this offense. At $5K, he's getting all of the rushing TD upside. So, man. And then we didn't even talk about Sean McCoy. 7,600. He's cheap. He's literally the only thing that Buffalo has. So if they're going to be in comeback mode, God, but I don't know, man, because Mike Tolbert might be back this week, and we know that they love giving Mike Tolbert 3rd and 26 looks on the screen. So I don't know, man. I hate this game because I want to use New England, but I can't use all of them in the same lineup, and I just know they're going to score a lot of points.
Yeah, Gronk is from Buffalo, so this is always a game he enjoys. And like you said, he smashes there. So I love him at 73. I'll play that stupid scenario all day long with Brady. You mentioned Burkett. I don't mind Dion Lewis either at 5,500. He is their, if there is such thing as a feature back in New England, he is their feature back. So he'll get those touches. And I do like Shady a lot at 76 because, like you said, he's their focal point. They're going to feed him in this game. He's definitely going to be a solid play in this matchup. And if you do want a receiver, like Bucks mentioned, Zay Jones, he's double-digited, I believe, in 3 straight weeks, 4,600, 5 or 6 or more targets in like 4 straight games. They're really starting to utilize him in this offense, and he might be the guy we all thought he would be. So 4,600 is it definite upside in the game where they might have to keep up in Buffalo, so I don't mind that at all on the Buffalo side. But Brady and Gronk, I absolutely love, and there is value on the slate that you can make that easily happen. San Francisco at Chicago. Chicago minus 3-point home favorites. Totals 41, another low total game. And this is sneaky. And James, I will support your boy on this one. So kick it off.
Trubisky time, baby.
Yep.
Trubisky
I'm with you.
This week in San Francisco. San Francisco has like 0 actual cornerbacks. I'm pretty sure they're playing a wide receiver at cornerback right now. So Trubisky is a fine option. He's 4,500. In his last game, he only threw the ball 17 times. Game before that, only 18 times. He really is dependent on throwing 2 touchdowns, and that's the problem. At 4,500, I don't think that his floor is bad. Like, he's a decent cash game quarterback, but I don't know if I can go there in GPPs because he's just not throwing the ball enough, and I need volume at my quarterback.
Hey, James, real quick. Those are his completions. He's throwing it over 30 times a game.
Oh, I suck. Oh, so he's only completing 50% of his passes?
Yes.
Oh, wow, yeah, I see it. Okay.
Yes.
Well, oh, man, I don't know. I know that Garoppolo is going to start this game. Like, at 5,100, I think I'd rather have Garoppolo, who I know is, like, a good quarterback. I don't know. Moving on, I think that Trubisky is fine. Like, I think that he has a decent floor. He's hit 10-plus points in, like, 4 of the last 5 games. So I think he's fine as a floor quarterback. The player that I really want here, obviously, is Jordan Howard. At 6,500, you're getting a feature back, obviously, against San Francisco. Obviously, at home against San Francisco. Obviously, I'm playing Jordan Howard. 6,500, that's an absolute no-brainer for me. And then at wide receiver, if you like Trubisky, which we usually do each week, we being me, you should also like Dontrell Inman at 3,900. He has kind of taken over the main mark share on that team. 8 targets against Green Bay, 5 against Detroit, 9 against Philadelphia. So at 3,900, if he gets 9 targets against the 49ers, he should absolutely just destroy value. We saw him do it a couple times last year when that Chargers wide receiver core was all banged up. Dontrell Inman does have upside at 3,900. So, the only things that I want pieces of in this game are Jordan Howard and the rest of the Bears, because I don't think that the 49ers, like, I feel bad for Jimmy Garoppolo having to play a game behind that O-line. That's awful, man. Like, finish the season with CJ Beathard, let Jimmy learn the offense, and then throw him out there next year after you draft 3 O-linemen that can actually protect your future franchise quarterback. I think it's a stupid decision for them to start him. But, I don't know. Hyde is fine. Hyde is good because he's going to get plenty of targets, but I don't want any of the other 49ers. I don't know what's going to happen with Garoppolo.
Yeah, no, Jimmy's a big question mark. He's going to be popular this week, but I do like Trubisky a lot this week because this Niners defense is horrific. Absolutely horrific. So I have no problem with him and Inman. Super cheap 1-2. If you just want the running combo, Howard at 65 is in a phenomenal spot this week. And the Chicago D at 3,500, I don't hate, especially at home. We've been on them a lot this year. It's more expensive than usual, but on this slate, there's not a ton of cheap defenses, at least in my opinion when I was looking at it. So I don't mind Chicago at 35. On the Niners side, I do like Hyde. I like Hyde almost every week, and he continues to be below 6K, which keeps him well within range to mix and match in your lineups. And if for some reason you do like Jimmy and you need a receiver, I do like Goodwin at $4,000. There's value for a guy that's getting a ton of targets as their wide receiver 1. It's kind of like we still loved Garcon back when he was healthy with them just because they have to throw it. So I don't mind Goodwin, but I prefer the Chicago side of things, and Hyde is an okay option. What about you, Bucks?
Yeah. Howard, Hyde, love the spots. Going to be playing them. Inman and Goodwin, love those spots. Inman's been a beast. Been getting crazy targets, even with the shitty play that Trubisky's recently. Hyde, Howard, Inman, Goodwin. I love Goodwin this week. All of those options are so love them all. I am 100% not playing Trubisky, and I am definitely fading Garoppolo too. So I'm not saying they can't pay off, but many solid spots on this slate that represent much, much higher ceilings. So I'm going to go elsewhere.
Yeah, I can totally understand that. There are some other cheapies on the board. Next game we have on the docket, Tampa Bay at Green Bay. Still no total as of like 5 o'clock my time. Jameis is making the start. At least that's reports for Tampa Bay. Hundley looked serviceable against Pittsburgh, surprisingly. Bucks kick us off on this one.
Yeah, I love Jameis Winston this week. $5,600. I mean, I think this is a smash spot for him. And then you got Mike Evans at $7,100, which is just crazy cheap. So I'm going to hammer a Tampa Bay stack with Winston, Evans, and then I'm going to keep a close eye on Deshaun and see what's going on with him. I know he was out of practice today with a foot injury. Like him at $4,700 a lot. Then Humphreys is going to be like Winston, Evans, Humphreys stack. Humphreys is $3,100, and if Deshaun's out, he's going to see 7 targets. So I love that side of the ball. Other side, I am not a fan really of much in this game. I have to see what's going on with Ty Montgomery and Aaron Jones, but Williams has been great. Really the only guy that I would ever or touch right now in the Green Bay receiving core, but he's $6,500, and I think that's right now. I think that he'll have to have a bunch of targets to keep up. But $6,500 is super pricey. Jordy Nelson at $4,400, like that's so cheap. And at some point, I have to think that Jordy's going to turn it around and start clicking with. But I don't know. It's tough. I mean, $4,400 against the Tampa Bay defense is just. I could see playing Jordy if I am in a spot where I need a value high upside guy.
Yeah, these are two horrific defenses, two very bad pass defenses. I love Mike Evans at $7,100, one of the better receivers on the board at that high price range, in my opinion. If Djax is healthy, he's great. And the guy to keep an eye on, cheap tight end, is Braid at $2,900. Before Winston got injured, that was one of his favorite targets. He was a double-digit monster. So Braid at $29, we're getting a massive discount. He was in the mid-4s, sometimes 5s when Winston was roaring early in the season. So Braid at $29 could be a really nice value there. Williams for running back at Green Bay, I don't mind. Depends, obviously, like you said, on Montgomery's situation and Jones. But I do like Adams at $6,500. He basically has 20 or more points in 3 straight games. His last 4 games, 8, 10, 8, and 10 are his targets. Hundley loves him. That's his guy. And the defense of Tampa Bay is 30th in football against the pass. So I will take my chances there on that one. But I do like the Tampa Bay side a ton, and Green Bay should get theirs. I'm curious to see what the total comes out of. Maybe James' little model has something out. What do you have on this game, James?
Yeah, I mean, a tentative line for me on this game is about 45, with Green Bay as 2.5-point favorites. And that includes the 4-point home field advantage that Green Bay gets. So on a neutral field, they would be 2.5-point dogs against Tampa Bay for me. I don't know, man. I can't I don't know if I can trust Hundley yet. He had one good game out of his entire career. And people are going to be on him, and Tampa Bay sucks. And it just feels like that spot where everybody's just like, oh, man, Tampa Bay's given up 300 yards in 400 games straight. And they've given up fantasy points to each quarterback since Vietnam. And then he's going to fail. And it just feels like that spot where, are we really going to trust Hundley? I don't know if I can. Winston is going to be back. Tampa Bay's defense also sucks, but is his shoulder completely healthy? Like, there's so many question marks in this game. I can't trust any of it. And I feel like when the line comes out, it's going to be higher than what I have it at. I feel like this line is going to come out at like 47.5, almost maybe 40, just because of how bad to take advantage of it. Mike Evans at 7,100, very nice price. I did want to say that I don't think that it'll be Adam Humphries picking up any targets from Sean Jackson. I think they'll insert Godwin into it.
Yep.
Because Humphries is a slot specialist, and Godwin was very good when he took over for Mike. So I think that Godwin will be across from Mike Evans, and he's still a great value if Deshaun Jackson. Just want to say that. I trust the Tampa Bay side more, I suppose, because I don't think that Hundley is the real deal. I think that he had a good game, and I don't want to read into it too much. But Jordy Nelson at 4,400, if you think that Hundley is going to have a good game, and at 45, if nobody is talking about him, I think that he's a good GPP shot. If he gets popular, don't do it. But like at 4,400, I don't think he's going to be popular. I think it's worth a shot at GPPs. Being said, I don't really like this game because there's too many question marks. But I understand. Yeah, I agree with what you guys have said. It's too many question marks for me.
Yeah, I'll let you guys go. Jordy, I can't do it. Hundley has one look. That's all he has. I just can't do it. Let's go to another game in the AFC South. Indianapolis at Jacksonville. Jacksonville's 9.5-point home favorites. Totals around 40.5. Jacksonville is set up to stomp. And then when they played in Indy, they put up some big fantasy numbers. Bortles over 20 fantasy points. James, kick us off in this one.
Do I have to? I hate Bortles so much. Nope. Sucks so bad at football, dude. I hate. I didn't like talking about him. I didn't like seeing his name. Yeah, I like Jacksonville's defense, and I love. He's been disappointing the last couple of weeks, but I mean, this is their workhorse back. He's only $7,800. He can run literally all over Indiana. Like, they can just lay down, and he can just run over every single one of their defensive players in a row. And I'll be very happy with it. At wide receiver, you can't touch any of the Indianapolis options. Even though T.Y. Hilton's only 4,800, you can't do it because Jacksonville is the real deal. The best play in this game for me would be a Jaguars Leonard Fournette stack. And that's so expensive. So I like Leonard Fournette. That's all I like. I hate Blake Bortles so much. I can't do it.
Yeah, I understand the Fournette. I can't go back to him right now. I'd rather pay for other guys in that range, but maybe that opens him up for you guys, definitely. I'm looking at Bortles at 5,400. I really am. He torched these guys the first time. He's been okay, even when he throws his picks, fantasy-wise at 5,400, and no one ever owns him. D.D. Westbrook will be the popular name at 41. I don't mind him at all. I think he's a great play at that price point. But I do like Mercedes Lewis as well at 52. Both really good options there.
Mercedes 5,200. He's had like a game.
Marquise Lee. Sorry, Marquise Lee. Marquise Lee, 5,200.
Like, dude, what?
No, sorry, Marquise Lee. I was looking at Mercedes Lewis' name. Marquise Lee. Lewis is 2,700, and I still don't want him, even though he had a good game against them. I'd rather go Cameron Brate at 29. The only Indianapolis guy I could possibly use, if you absolutely had to, would be Frank Gore at $3,800 because they need to slow the game down, but I don't even want to go there. I like the passing game in Jacksonville. Defense at $4,500. I don't think I've ever remember seeing a defense that expensive. That's just wild. But they got like 20-plus points on them the first time. So, Bucks, where are you going on this one?
Jaguars defense, I am definitely paying up for them. Indianapolis sucks. Running back, I love Fournette this game. Has been disappointing for a little while now and kind of crushed some dreams of mine last week. So that sucks. But with James, I think he can run just laps around this Indy D. And then the one guy on the Indy side that is very intriguing to me because I think it has to him if there's any chance of Indianapolis winning this game, and that's Jack Doyle. Also just pricey, but he's getting ridiculous amounts of targets, and the receivers are going to be shut down. So I am going to look that direction in a few of my lineups.
Yeah, that is a decent look there for sure. Denver at Miami. Miami's a 1-point home dog. Totals 39. I actually think there might be a little more offense in this one, kind of like last week's game against Oakland. But I like Simeon at $4,800 against pretty much the worst pass D in all of football. I actually don't mind him at all at 48. I actually like him more than Trubisky at 45. I'll come out and say that one. My favorite receiver possibly on the entire slate, price-wise, is Demaryius Thomas at $5,300. That is criminal in this matchup. He should eat for days. Sanders is banged up. He's 49 if he plays, but I love Thomas at 53. Love Thomas. If you want a running back, Booker's there, but I like Simeon Thomas 1-2 punch there. Yeah, Kenyon Drake on the Dolphins side. He's going to be the lone horse because Williams is out. The backup is on concussion protocols. I really don't think they even have a running back active on the roster to back him up. So he's $4,900. Cutler will dump it off to him all day and give him handoffs. So 49, I don't mind. Receivers are always in play, but it's pretty much Simeon and DT for me. James, what do you have on this one?
This legitimately might end up being the worst offensive performance for a game the entire year. This is ugly. I am fine with what you said. Trevor Siemian and Demaryius Thomas, I think, is fine for the price. If you want to take a shot, Miami is really, really bad. It just depends on if Simeon is having a good game or if he's having a Paxton Lynch game. I don't know which one's going to show up, but I think that Simeon and Demaryius Thomas is fine, especially in GPPs. I think it has plenty of upside there. Broncos defense at 3K. Sure. I know they've been bad, but Jay Cutler has been – I mean, Jay Cutler's been Jay Cutler, dude. Like, if there's a cure for the Broncos, it's Jay Cutler. So I think that the Broncos defense play, you might even be able to use all three of those players. You might even be able to go Simeon, Demaryius Thomas, and Broncos defense if you wanted to. I think that has plenty of upside. So, but I wouldn't go heavy on this game.
What about you, Bucks?
This game is hot garbage. Like, awful, man. Yes, I agree that the price for Demaryius Thomas is criminal, but I also think that how they've been using him is criminal. I mean, he had 5 catches last game which is just ridiculous. I mean, and that's not the first game this season where they've done stuff like that. Like, he had a game where he caught, 3 catches for 10 yards. I mean, it's just I agree that that's value there, but I can't trust Simeon either, so I'm not sure if I can go that direction. What are your guys' opinions about his ownership? That's an egregious price, I agree. So do you think his ownership will be inflated?
Thomas? For who?
Demaryius Thomas.
Oh, he'll probably be mid-20s, if not higher.
Yeah, I think he's going to get touted pretty hard, man. Miami is really, really bad, and I think that people will go there.
Yeah, then I'm going to have to fade and hope.
To me, it's good chalk. He has 8 or more targets in all but 2 starts with Simeon.
Oh, I agree. I just know he hasn't hit over 70 yards in any of them with 12 targets. 8 catches for 70 yards. I don't know. I think at some point, normalization, at some point he will normalize and break 100 yards, and maybe that's this game. It's just really tough to trust the spot with Simeon there, but I can see it. I just don't know at 5,300 with that ownership if I can dart in there. But other than that, I'm not touching any piece of this game. I'll have to think about it.
All right, Kansas City at the New York Jets. Jets 3.5-point home dogs. Totals 44. Go back to you on this one, Bucks. Kick us off in New York.
Yeah, I mean, I like McCown. I think that $5,500 he's going to have to throw to keep up, and running backs catch the ball. So I like the spot he's in. I think he can hit value here. Really not a Chiefs fan, so avoid them where possible. I think Alex Smith has not been good recently. So I'm likely going to other spots in this. I think Kareem Hunt at $6,900 is garbage, so I'm avoiding that as well. Hill is interesting to me because I think that he for a breakout game. I mean, we saw it last year. We saw a few times beginning of the season, and he's gone a few games without a touchdown. So I think that he can have a breakout game. But he's $6,700, which is pretty pricey. So I think in a GPP, with the way that he's been playing, his ownership should be down. Tyreek this game. And then other than that, Robbie Anderson's been a freaking monster. So I really, really like Robbie Anderson this game as well. As far as tight ends go, I think that both Travis Kelce and ASJ are both in really good spots. So I think ASJ is value. I'm not entirely sure I can go Kelce at $7K when Gronk is a few $100 more. So I think that I would have to go spend up $300 to get Gronk instead of Kelce.
Yeah, definitely. James, what are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I agree with most of what Buck said. I think that Josh McCown is fine at 5,500. He's been a good quarterback this year. Definitely serviceable. He's been good in DFS as well, making value pretty consistently at a low price tag. But I don't think that he'll make value because they have to keep up, because I don't know if Kansas City is going to score another touchdown all year. This team has been bad over the last 3 or 4 games, and now they're traveling to New York, and getting away from Kansas City Stadium, and Alex Smith is not good, and they just rely on these big plays, and I don't know, man. I don't know that the Jets should be dogs in this game. Like, Kansas City's bad right now. So I think that Josh McCown is fine at 5,500. I wouldn't expect a huge game because I don't think this turns into a shutout. I don't have any interest in Alex Smith. Kareem Hunt at 6,900 after a game where he disappointed everybody in their most is interesting, but what is not interesting is his usage in this offense. Like, Andy Reid refuses to give him the ball, so you can't pay $6,900 for him. Even if he's the best running back on the planet, he's not getting the volume for it to matter. At wide receiver, Robbie Anderson is fantastic, 6,300. He's been a boon all year. Been a very good target, been a very good deep target. Tyreek Hill at 6,700, I think, is the only piece of the Chiefs' offense that you can have outside of Travis Kelce if you're not paying for Gronk. But I mean, I would prefer Travis Kelce, obviously, but assuming that we're all going to have Gronk here, Tyreek Hill is the only piece of this pass offense that I would actually want, and that's only because of his his big playability in the pass game and the return game, because the Jets have not been good on special teams this year. The defense is the Jets only 2,500 against an offense that hasn't been able to score on the Giants or the Bills. That's not awful. I wouldn't expect a whole bunch from it. Their defense hasn't been great at racking up fantasy points, but you could do worse as a punt. So I don't really have a lot of interest in this game. I think that this is kind of a slow one. I think Josh McCown is fine for a cash game quarterback if you want to pair him with Robbie Anderson or ASJ, but I don't like any of the Chiefs, really.
Yeah, Hill would be the only play in Kansas City. I agree there. For me, it's McCown, and I love Robbie Anderson. Robbie Anderson is probably the only play in the game I like at all. Both these teams are actually really good against the tight end. I know Kelsey's pretty darn good, but I'd rather pay for Gronk, and now you don't have to worry about it. Much better matchup. So Robbie Anderson's about all I want in this one, and I'll go elsewhere for my quarterback. Houston at Tennessee. Tennessee 7-point home favorites. Total is around 43 bucks. What do you got?
Yeah, this is there's a couple people I like in this game. I typically would be all over Mariota, but he has been just bad, man. Like, I know his receiving core isn't great, but I really loved him last week, and he just disappointed like crazy. With that being said, Mariota this week because I think there's better options. I'm not touching any of the running backs in this game. There are a few receivers I like. I think DeAndre Hopkins at $7,300, assuming that this foot injury is just thing. I think him at $7,300 is crazy cheap. So I'm stacking him and Evans in a bunch. At Corey Davis is another guy that I like this week, especially if Rashard is out. Houston's not been good. And then one guy that I have to mention because I think he's in a really good spot here is Savage. I know he's not great, but I think he's in a good spot, and I think Hopkins, especially if Hopkins is back, if Fuller's back, a lot of weapons there for him. So I really like him at $4,500 this week. So Delaney Walker at $5,600 is pricey, but he hits value. He's gonna hit value at $5,600. He's gonna get you like minimum. Dude's just a beast. So Delaney Walker's another one. If like he falls within that price range I need, I'll move up to him. But yeah, that's really all I got in this game.
All I like in this game is I do like Hopkins if he is healthy. I like him pretty much any week, and especially at 73. I can get behind that. Lamar Miller at 6,000, I think, is very much in play here. I agree with you there. And then on the Tennessee side of things, the only guy I want to look at is Delaney Walker at 56. I think he's in for another big week in this matchup against Houston. So those will be the guys I'll be targeting in this matchup. James, what do you like in Tennessee?
I don't like a lot, man. This slate doesn't really have a lot to offer. This is Tom Savage against watered-down Mariota, apparently, who's not running the ball as much as he did last year. He's not converting touchdowns at even half the rate that he was last year. His wide receiver core isn't great. I don't know, man. And then both the running backs, Marco Murray is taking away Derrick Henry's touchdowns while Derrick Henry is driving him all the way down the field. So you can't take him.
Yeah.
But he's probably a decent option. I think the only play that I care about at all in this game is DeAndre Hopkins at 7,300, and it's because he's the only one that has really any ceiling at all.
Yeah.
This game just is not great, man. And that's probably his only consistent target in the red and between the 20s. So I don't know, man. This game it's hard to expect fireworks here from a fantasy standpoint. Even if both these teams score 20-plus points, it's really hard to imagine that any one player besides Hopkins amasses a good fantasy total.
I feel you. Let's go to the biggest spread of the day. We got Cleveland at the Chargers. Chargers are 14-point home favorites. Total's 42. Chargers, the second highest total on the slate at 28 at the moment. You got Phillip Rivers at $7,000. James, kick us off in this one.
Go take the Browns money line right now. Right now. The 14-point spread for a home game. The Chargers don't even have a home they don't even have a home advantage. They have like 6 people from their own state in that stadium at any given time. I don't think the Chargers are 14-point favorites over the Browns. I know the Browns have been bad, but they get back Josh Gordon this week, who, by the way, play him. they have Corey Coleman, who came back over the last couple weeks. He's looking good. I know the Browns suck, but this is the Chargers we're talking about, man. They find ways to break the spread. So, man, they should not be 14-point home favorites. Hunter Henry is fantastic playing this game, 4,700. It's Cleveland. They suck against tight ends. Flowchart, just to use him. They have not allowed a quarterback over 300 yards. The Browns have not allowed a quarterback over 300 yards in something like 8 games this year. Phillip Rivers should not be 7K. That's egregious. It's going to be DeShone Kizer starting at quarterback, right? Like, they didn't do any weird stuff this week.
Yep.
No,
yeah.
That's him.
So I think DeShone Kizer is a really interesting option here, considering he now has Josh Gordon and Corey Coleman to work with, and Dave Njoku, who looked really good. Like, it would be the ultimate Chargers thing for them to lose this game as 14-point home favorites. It would be the ultimate Chargers thing for that to happen. At running back, Melvin Gordon at 7,400 is good. I don't hate that. The Browns' rush defense, which was really good for the first 6 games of the year, has looked awful for the last 5. So I think Melvin Gordon's fine at 7,400. But yeah, I actually like the Cleveland passing game. Like, I don't mind Kizer with Josh Gordon at all. I don't know how many people are going to take him in his first game back. I know there's going to be a snap count, but he only needs like 25 snaps to just absolutely annihilate a defense. And that's the only narrative that I'm going to ride this year is the Josh Gordon narrative. That's it. So I like Josh Gordon a lot this week.
You sound like you're quite high on the Josh Gordon narrative.
I am very high. You say he's got buzzed.
So is DraftKings going to let him play? Because they still have him listed as out.
As long as he's there, you're able to play him.
Yep.
All right. Cool.
Yeah, I'm looking at this. I know Rivers has been good, but there's no way I can pay 7K for Phillip Rivers. Just it's not happening. I do like the DeShone Kizer take. I really do. Because even if San Diego's scoring, they're going to have to keep up. And Kaiser's been putting up points either via his legs or the passing game, especially like you mentioned, James, with his new weapons. So at 4,500, I don't mind Kizer at all. I do like Corey Coleman at 43, and I like my guy I use every week, Duke Johnson at $4,800. Continues to be consistent, maybe more cash game relevant than GPP, but he's just a double-digit machine over and over and over and over again. So give me Duke Johnson at $4,800. I do like Melvin at 73. If you want to go different and not go Keenan Allen, Tyrell Williams at $3,900 isn't a bad play in this matchup. But Hunter Henry would be the receiver of choice for me, just like you said, in San Diego at 4,700. And if you're one that believes that the Chargers just roll and Cleveland can't score, well, then the Chargers D at 4,000 makes it a very interesting pivot off of the Jaguars. But that's up to you to pay 4,000 for that defense. But I do like the Cleveland attack a lot. I'm with you on that 100%, James. Kizer, Johnson, and Coleman. Maybe stack it with a little Hunter Henry. Mm-hmm. What about you, Bucks?
Yeah, there's a couple plays that I like in this game. I think my favorite play is Duke Johnson. Not only because he catches a ton of balls, Corral's banged up, so I'm hoping that he sees a little more running share this game as well. And I agree with James. I don't think that should be 14-point favorites. I understand Cleveland's bad, but I don't think Chargers are as good as made out to be. So I'm definitely not playing Rivers. I don't mind Kizer at $4,500, especially like as a GPP play. Like you said, if you're going Kizer, you might as well go Gordon and Coleman or something like that. Get weird and you have so much money to spend elsewhere is crazy. Hunter Henry's also a good play as well.
All right, Carolina at New Orleans, NFC South. New Orleans 4-point home favorite. Total is 48. Highest total on the slate. Bucks kick us off in New Orleans.
Yeah, I think that this is a tough game. I've had this feeling a couple games this year, and this is one of them where I'm not sure that I trust this to just be this massive shootout. With that being said, I'm also having a hard time trusting Breeze at $6,500, which is crazy value. But when you have Kamara and Ingram that are just, it's hard to trust anything with Breeze. With that being said, if there is a game for Breeze to kind of, I think the Carolina rush D is good and the run D is good. So I could definitely see Breeze hitting stride this game. I like Ted Ginn Jr. at $5,100. I think that's a value there. And I personally like Ed Dixon this game, depending on Greg Olsen. I think he's going to play, but he is questionable and didn't practice. But I think that may be just precautionary. But if Olsen's not playing, I really like Ed Dixon. I'll mention, because I skipped over him, is Cam Newton. I kind of at a spot for me where if he's going to be under 7K, I'm going to take a shot on him. He is he's running a ton right now. He's off 30 times a game. And he is like that goal line vulture. So if you think they're going to move the ball on the Saints, it wouldn't surprise me if he had 2 goal line carries and 2 goal line touchdowns this game.
Yeah. On the Olsen front, I know he didn't play the whole second half last week, so they're taking it easy, but he might be banged up. No one's saying anything yet. It's really weird. Yeah. James, what's your take on this game?
I would have loved to stack this game if Devin Funchess was not questionable.
Yep.
But with Devin Funchess questionable, the Carolina wide receivers group is as follows: Russell frickin' Shepard, Brandon frickin' Burson, and Kalen frickin' Clay. And nope. I don't know, man. Kalen Clay is actually a good wide receiver. He has upside. He's a good wide receiver. But he's unproven, and we don't know who would be the wide receiver 1 in the offense. If Greg Olsen misses this game, Cam Newton is going to have to throw to an entire group of career backups.
And I think he's just going to run all over the place.
But he can only run so much, man. They might only score 1 touchdown in this game if he has that to throw to. So if Devin Funchess plays, I really do like doing something like a game stack here and going Cam Newton, Greg Olsen, Devin Funchess with Michael Thomas or Ted Ginn Jr., a.k.a. revenge game narrative, bringing it back. And I'm fine with that. I like a game stack here, but only if Funchess and Greg Olsen play, because otherwise I can't trust Cam Newton to throw to an entire group of third-string wide receivers and a basketball player converted to a tight end. I can't do it. You didn't even mention Christian McCaffrey, who has been playing out of the slot almost as much as he's been playing in the backfield. And at 7,200, I'll take somebody who's doing both of those things, especially when I think that they're going to move the ball. I will not.
Well, it's crazy.
What?
Well, it's crazy. Everybody is.
Everybody is banged up. Yeah, I mean, if they all play, I don't mind game stacking this. But if none of them play, then I have to stay the hell away. There is a 0% chance that I play Alvin Kamara when he's getting 14 touches per game at $8,400. Nope, don't care. He's been I'm a volume guy. No. It's the same reason why I didn't play Kareem Hunt over the last, 6 years, apparently, it feels like. But, I like this game if the Carolina passing options are open. If they're not, then I can't touch it because I don't think the Carolina Panthers can move the ball.
Yeah, it is going to come down to the health report on this one because I do like this game. I love Cam at 68, like you guys said. Funchess. McCaffrey had almost 24 points against these guys earlier this year, 9 targets at 7 catches. He torched them, and now he's actually playing out of the slot, like you said, not just out of the backfield. He makes for a really good play at $7,200. Because I think a lot of people will see that price and be like, oh, no, but there's a lot more to him. So I like that a ton. And then, you said Michael Thomas at 69. He had a 20-plus point performance against these guys earlier this year. I love Ted Ginn. He had a good game the first time against them. He's had or more points in at least 80% of his games this year. He's having a really, really good season at $5,100. So I like it a lot. If the injury report is bad, Saints defense at $2,800 is very, very live. Very, very live in this game, and you go that direction. But I think it's a good game to stack if, like you guys said, the players are in play. Rams at Arizona. Arizona is a 7-point home dog to the Los Angeles Rams. Total is 45. Rams have like the fourth highest team total on the slate. It is wild. Bucks, kick us off in the desert.
Yeah, I mean, Goff is $6,700 and he's a beast. So I love him this spot. I mean, I think that you obviously have one solid player on the opposite side of the ball to limit some production there, but he has a lot of weapons to go to. I understand Woods is going to be out anyways, but I mean, Sammy Watkins, I would assume, is going to get shadowed by Peterson. Anyways, which, I mean, just hammering Cooper Kupp. We loved him last week, and he went bananas. So I love Cooper Kupp this week, especially if Sammy is the one that's going to be shadowed by Peterson. And then there's some other guys on this squad that could go off. I mean, I like Gurley in this spot. I think that he's going to catch a bunch of balls this game. Peterson, I think that they came out today and said they're not sure how this week's going to shape up. I mean, if Adrian Peterson's out, I don't know who Arizona's going to have at the running back position, but I'm going to look at him because not been great against the run, so I have to figure that one out. But I really like Cooper Kupp in this game. And as far as defense, I mean, Rams at 3,600 are pretty pricey, but I dig it.
Yeah, Rams defense definitely in play in this one. I don't mind Goff at 67. You mentioned Kupp and Watkins. I like Gurley a ton, 82. He's one of my he is my top priced guy if I'm going high at running back. I love Todd Gurley in this matchup. I just don't see how Blaine Gabbert can do it for a third straight week against another pretty good defense. It's ridiculous that he's doing this. But James, what do you have on this one?
Yeah, I agree with you on Todd Gurley at 8,200. He's been great all year. They've been utilizing him correctly all year. So I like him a lot. Jared Goff at 6,700 is fine. Cooper Kupp has gotten a lot of recognition this week because he's the quote-unquote number 2 in this offense, but he's their slot guy. Josh Reynolds at 3,500 is actually their number 2. And he will be the one who's seeing most of Bethel. Cooper Kupp will be seeing the majority of Tyrann Mathieu in the slot. So, I mean, I would rather pivot to Josh Reynolds at 3,500. I'm not sure if you guys have looked at him, but he did catch 4 targets and a touchdown last week. So he's questionable right now with an ankle injury, but he would be where I'd go in this game as the pivot off of Sammy Watkins for the wide receiver 2 against Arizona, play that we always love so much. Other than that, I agree with you guys for the most part. Jared Goff is fine at 6,700. I really like Todd Gurley at 8,200. I don't know for Arizona at running back if Adrian Peterson were to miss the game. It just seems like this game is going to be the Rams just annihilating the poor Arizona Cardinals, and then Todd Gurley just racking up garbage time yards.
Yep.
That's what it should be. It's really what it should be. Let's go to one of the bad games today. Giants at the Raiders. Raiders 7-point home favorites. Totals 42. Their 1-2 receiving punch is out, most likely. So Seth Robertson, Cordell Patterson, and whoever else is leading the way, they're all below 4K. So you have value there if you want to torch a Giants defense. It's bad. I'm going Marshawn Lynch week at $4,800. I think Beast Mode has some fun. That's where I'm looking. If not, Jared Cook at 5,400, tight end for the Raiders. I do like him a ton against the Giants. I so want to try to play EJ Manuel. I can't do it. I can't do it. I get it if you do. I can't. James, what do you got?
First off, it's Geno Smith that's going to be drawing the start. Get your backup QBs right, Mr. Bubba.
Sorry, they're both garbage.
I don't agree with that. Okay. I actually have interest in Geno Smith. I don't hate that play so much. Like, the Oakland defense has been atrocious. So bad. And I think that Geno Smith has, like, some upside. He's got a big arm, and he can throw the ball a long ways down the field. So, yeah, I don't hate him. If you're going to be contrarian and you want to, like, play around and just throw a Millie Maker lineup in there and try to have just like a dumb lineup, just go Geno Smith and stack the Giants and just full stack this game and have fun with it. But realistically, the thing that I should be talking about good fantasy advice is you should play Cordero Patterson. Cordero Patterson is 3,400, and I don't know if you've ever seen what Cordero Patterson looks like, but he's freaking massive, dude. He's huge, and he runs really fast. And that's probably a pretty good thing against the Janoris Jenkins-less New York Giants defense. I like all the passing options for the Raiders. This game legitimately could go off the rails. If Geno Smith wants this job, if he legitimately wants to be the quarterback of the New York Giants, this is a prove-it game. And if the Giants defense has him behind and he starts throwing and Sterling Shepard does cool things with the football in his hands, like, this game could be fun. I think this is, like, if you're going to have a mess-around game, this is the one that you stack.
And I do agree with that because I wrote down, like, so many names on this list. I just can't bring myself to play them unless, like you said, Millie Maker lineup, whatever. Because Shepard at 7K is even a dart. King at 31. I do like the Patterson call a lot, though. Bucks, what do you have in this one?
Yeah, I do like Marshawn Lynch. I'm glad you mentioned him. I really, really like Seth Roberts and Cordero Patterson. I agree with what you said. The last two games, he's definitely flown under the radar. I mean, he's caught 4 passes or 3 or 4 passes the last few games. Last game, I think he went for like 75 yards. So he's definitely in play at $3,400. Derek Carr, I will likely stack one lineup with Carr, Patterson, and Roberts. The only thing that concerns me about that is whether they have to put up points or they're just going to run the ball with the Lynch all game. But a Carr fan forever, so I'm going to have one lineup with him. I don't think he's a great play, but I do like the upside that Cordero Patterson has and Seth Roberts have. And then on the other side of the ball, the only guy that I would touch here because I think that they're going to have to go to him pretty damn often. So,
Right. Sunday night football. This should be actually a really good one. Philadelphia at the Seahawks. Seahawks are 5.5-point home dogs. Total is 47.5. We got Russell Wilson at home on prime time with a bad, depleted defense. James, kick us off in Seattle.
Russell Wilson is the #1 player in fantasy football this year, which is insanity. 255 total amassed PPR points this year. Talked about it on my radio show this morning. He's been a monster. He's just throwing all the time. They have no line. They have no running backs. He's playing at home. Philadelphia's defense is very good, but he is a freaking magician at home. And I'm done arguing it. I'm done trying to find the logic in what he does. I'm done fighting it. Like, he's just a wizard. So I don't mind playing the wizard that is Russell Wilson. And stacking him with Doug Baldwin, taking him with Jimmy Graham, taking him with whoever, because he's going to find a way to get the ball past this defense. I don't know how it's going to happen, but he's going to do it. I don't even think that it's bad to stack him naked with himself, because not only is he the #1 quarterback in fantasy, but he also has 400 rushing yards on the year, which is more than 21 running backs in the league. He's insane. I don't get it. Russell Wilson's fantastic play this week, even against Philadelphia. I actually think he'll go under-owned because it is Philadelphia. And then on the other side, we get the phenom that is Carson Wentz, who's throwing touchdowns at a higher rate than Peyton Manning did when he broke the touchdown record a couple years ago. So him against a depleted Seattle team, like this is the game stack of the freaking century. Like if you're gonna play the primetime slate, it's just so you can stack the hell out of this game, and just min cash everything. So I like whatever you want to do with this game if it involves the passing game, and I hate everything as it pertains to the running backs. But this is a stackable game, like in every way.
Yeah, this is the game that might make me make a Thursday through Sunday lineup. This game. I like it a lot. So what do you got on this one, Bucks?
Yeah, I love Russell Wilson. I mean, yeah, I love both of them, to be honest with you, but Russell Wilson is going to be much lower owned, so I love that direction. And James is absolutely right. The dude is a magician. He finds a way to score points. He runs all over the place. He ball around and scrambles until somebody gets open. He does it all game, every game. I think that going to have a really hard time containing Russell Wilson. And if the Seattle defense can up, I think that Seattle beats the Eagles this week. Russell Wilson, I really like. In this game, I really like Richardson at $4,600. I think that a lot of focus will be on Baldwin, and I think Baldwin still gets his, but for $2,100 cheaper, I think Richardson's going to see 7 or 8 targets this game. So I really like that direction. I mean, Zach Ertz is Zach Ertz. I love Zach Ertz. Jimmy Graham, love all of it. I mean, I don't see a way how you could possibly play either of these defenses in this game.
Yeah, it's going to be extremely disappointing if this game's like 10-6. It's going to be so sad. Such a sad state of affairs. But I agree. Russell the Love Muscle is drinking that special water like crazy in Seattle. I love him at 71. Graham, he's been going to a lot, especially in the red zone. I think I saw somewhere he's got more red zone targets than any tight end in football right now. So Graham's doing just fine down there. I love the Richardson call, Bucks. At $4,600. I think it's very, very solid. And then on the other side, Wentz is a great play. None of us have discounted Wentz. It's just we like Wilson more. But the receivers in that side, Jeffrey, Aguilar, like game stack bonanza. And I do like Ertz. If you want to use Ertz and Graham, like one in your flex, one in your tight end, Ertz is another reason why I don't want to go Kelsey. I go $100 down and go to Ertz if I play the full slate, then play Kelsey. So I think this is an awesome game, and I hope it turns out that way. So I agree with you guys completely. Monday Night Football, this to me spells snooze fest, but I could be wrong. Pittsburgh at Cincinnati. Cincinnati 5.5 point home dogs. Totals 43.5. James, kick us off on this one.
Every single meeting of these teams is under the total. So I don't know, man. You can take Antonio Brown if you'd like. AJ Green almost always annihilates Pittsburgh, so 7,200. If you want to take a shot on one of the worst offenses in the league and take AJ Green, then be my guest. At running back, Joe Mixon is looking great. We nailed him on the pod last week. 5,100 against Pittsburgh is it's fine, man. This is a really good week to go Thursday through Monday. We talk about this all the time. If you think that the Island games suck, which they do this week, play the Thursday through Monday and just fade Thursday and Monday and just stack up in the middle. This game doesn't look like it's going to have much fancy goodness. You can take your regular targets of Antonio Brown, Le'Veon Bell, AJ Green, Joe Mixon, but for me, this is pretty much complete fade. I don't see any reason to play anybody from this game with so many other juicy spots.
Yeah, I'll make it short and sweet. This is a fade for me, and I agree. If you want someone Mixon, Green, maybe Bell. That's about all I want. Bucks, do you have any desire to play the Monday night game?
I think that I think Pittsburgh has been a different team with Hayden out, and I think their run D is better than they let on, and I think their pass D is not as good. So I really do like AJ Green this week, and not just because he normally crushes them, because he does, but I think AJ Green can potentially go bananas. I really like LaFell as well. Honestly, would lead me to Andy Dalton at $5,300. I think that's crazy cheap. Andy Dalton's actually been a decent fantasy quarterback the last few weeks. So, full slate, I'm definitely going to have one Cincinnati stack and then come back around with maybe Bell. I mean, the dude's had 20 catches the last 2 games, 5 targets. So I understand he's $9,400, but freaking monster, man. I mean, he's gonna get you 20+ points easy. But really, AJ Green here are targets for me.
Very, very nice. The Cincinnati angle will be quite contrarian, so you may be onto something there. All right, that is 16 games in the books. 16 games. Let's go with some bold calls real quick. Bucks, you have a bold call? If not, we can move on to someone else and come back.
Yeah, I think Jameis Winston throws for 4 touchdowns.
4 touchdowns. What about you, James?
I think that my bold call is going to be that Josh Gordon plays no more than 30 snaps, but still breaks 100 yards.
Ooh.
Interesting. My bold call, and they never seem to be bold enough, so tell me if this isn't right. But I love Demaryius Thomas so much. I have him for because he's $5,300. Carry the 2. Give me 24 plus DraftKings points.
Okay.
That's a bold call. I'll give you that.
Okay. 24 plus DraftKings points. I think as a Dolphins fan, I'm watching this take place in my head over and over again.
With the way that last week's yardage went, he's going to have to catch 15 balls for that to happen.
Nah, he'll be fine. He's going to score 3 touchdowns, so he'll be fine.
There you go.
He's that's one thing he has been getting, a lot of red zone targets. That's one thing he does get.
Yeah. I have a fun thing that I'm going to do this week. Because I haven't been taking NFL super seriously for the last couple weeks because it's just been so insane. So I've been making a fun lineup every week, at least one. And my fun lineup this week is going to be nothing but Cleveland Browns and New York Giants.
And you're going to cash. You're going to cash.
Let's do this. Let's do it, man.
It's funny you mentioned that because something I've been thinking about a lot today while doing research for this is I've really gotten to the point now I might stop concentrating so much on stacking. I might be more – the way this season's gone, I just want my guys that are going to give me 15-plus points every week.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think – but, I mean, you can target that a lot more without stacks. The way these games have gone this year, even that Falcons game, you guys said, it went off, but Ryan barely hit value. If you would have stacked, Julio and maybe another piece, different ways of stacking or no stacking at all is what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to figure it all out. I think I'm going to go a lot of naked quarterbacks. Don't Google that.
Good mental.
Naked.
Bunch of naked quarterbacks. Let's go. Naked Brady, naked Cousins.
Naked Brady.
Same picture.
As long as I can Google naked Brady, Giselle's in the picture, we're good. All right, let's do our position by positions before this goes completely off the rails. I'll start us off with quarterback. Play Matt Ryan at 64, Case Keenum at 6,000.
Keenum.
Yeah, it's Keenum. Matt Ryan sucks this year.
I really, really like Keenum in that game. Your top quarterback at 4,900 or below. There's a lot to choose from this week.
There are a lot to choose from. That's tough. I think that I would have to go with Savage.
About you, James?
Kaiser, one of those two.
Yeah, Kaiser's good. James?
Yeah, it's either Kaiser or Geno Smith for me, man. And I'm going to have a bunch of both of them because I'm just going Cleveland Browns and New York Giants this week.
You're going to have like $8,200 left over.
He's going to have Gronk and Julio Jones, and he's going to – it's going to be glorious.
It's going to be cool, man.
I'm going Kaiser and Simeon. Those will be the two I pick from there. Our Sunday night battle, I'm pretty sure I know the answer now. I didn't think it'd be this easy, but Wentz or Wilson?
Wilson.
Dude, I mean, Wentz. Like, I'm still saying Wentz. I think Wentz is fantastic, but I think Wilson's magician.
Cool. And then the last one, they're both 5,100, Jimmy G or Brett Hundley?
Oh.
Hundley, I guess. Just because he's been playing.
Hundley, I guess, man. And only I don't know if Jimmy G's going to live through the game. So
the only reason why I asked that question is because I've heard so much Jimmy G slurping going on that I want to at least make a point to people that we haven't seen him do it yet. Like, calm down for 2 seconds. But okay, who's got the running backs?
I'll do them. I got running backs. All right, so who would you prefer to have, Leonard Fournette or LaShawn McCoy?
Shady.
Man, Fournette.
I agree with Bucks. I'm with Fournette on this one. Running down the list, which Minnesota running back do you think is worth it more, Latavius Murray or Jerick McKinnon?
Neither.
Latavius. Yeah. Latavius, if I had to.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to make me choose between Brett Hundley and frickin' Jimmy Garoppolo, I'm going to make you guys choose which one to do.
I said Latavius.
That's fair.
Yeah, Latavius.
Okay, Jordan Howard or Samaje Perine?
Howard. Fucking 100,000%.
Mm-hmm.
Fine, guys. Just yell it at me. Here, for low price guys, Kenyon Drake or Marshawn Lynch?
Lynch.
I'll go Lynch, but Drake's going to be such a factor in the passing game too. That's the part that's interesting.
Yeah, I think I lean Lynch, but I do like Drake for tournaments.
Yeah, that's an interesting one.
Who is your favorite running back 5,000 and below?
5,000 and below.
Mine would be Duke Johnson.
Yeah, Duke Johnson. The guy close to my heart every week.
Yeah, I mean, I'll probably say I think that I like Rod Smith a lot in GPPs, but if we're gonna go with a safe play, then I do think that Duke Johnson is the safer play.
Yeah, for sure. Especially if Crowell's out.
Big time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good. Bucks, you got wide receivers?
I do have wide receivers. Let's see here. Is Antonio Brown worth the price this week?
No.
Literally no.
I agree. I think that's especially when you look at the other guys on the board, AJ Green, Evans, Hopkins, they're crazy cheap. I don't think he's going to hit value this week. But with that being said, ridiculous the last couple games. Like, insanely good. All right. Favorite wide receiver on the slate, any price?
Yeah, any price. Denarius Thomas. I can't stop now.
God.
You said at the price. $5,300 is stupid.
Yeah, okay. If we're gonna play that game, Josh Gordon, dude.
Yeah,
Just your favorite wide receiver.
Okay. All right. I will take mine seriously, and I'll say Mike Evans. I will say Mike.
Yeah.
Evans.
Thank you. That's what I was about to say. If I have to pick a real one, Mike Evans at $7,100 is outstanding.
Yeah, I would say Evans or Hopkins this week.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right. So next, Evans or Hopkins?
Evans. Only because I know Evans is 100% healthy.
I mean, that's tough for me because of Hopkins' market share and Mike Evans having to share the ball. But I think that if Deshaun Jackson is out, then it's easy that it's Mike Evans for me.
Honestly, if people can make a lineup with both of them, I think they'll thoroughly enjoy it.
Yeah,
I have a lineup with Hopkins, Evans, and AJ Green, and it's solid, like real solid.
Yeah.
You must have the Giant stack going then.
No, I have Winston, Evans, Hopkins, and AJ Green with Jordan Howard, Duke Johnson. How good is that right now?
I like it. I like it.
Yeah, I mean, I thought both of those were close. The only reason I went Evans is because I think Winston is way better than Savage.
Oh, yeah.
Tyreek Hill or Doug Baldwin?
Who?
Doug Baldwin.
Give me Baldwin, better quarterback.
Definitely a better quarterback. I think that Hill would be my GPP play this week. But I do love Baldwin. So, all right, moving on. Or Corey Davis. Both are $5,100.
Who was it again? Sorry.
Ted Ginn Jr. or Corey Davis?
Ted Ginn.
Yeah, Ted Ginn, not even close. Corey Davis hasn't done anything this year.
Yeah, exactly.
He's so talented too. It's crazy.
Yep, it's just quarterback.
Favorite sub 4K wide receiver?
That's a good one. I'll let you have your boy.
Well, actually, my boy is going to be Josh Reynolds this week.
I like that a lot. I forgot all about him until you mentioned him when we started talking about the teams. If I won't take your guy, then I like him a ton. Inman for Chicago, $3,900.
Yeah, Inman's real solid this week. There's so many. That's the thing. This week there's so many solid value plays that you can get.
Yep.
Fournette and Evans and Hopkins is crazy.
That's why you go Brady and Gronk and you go crazy there.
Yeah.
No, it's
That's
solid.
it for me.
All right, I'll take the tight ends. I've got 2 tight end questions.
Okay.
Evan Ingram or Delaney Walker?
I have to go Delaney Walker.
I'm saying Evan Ingram. Evan Ingram.
It's a tight one. They both could have huge weeks at that price point.
I just think Delaney Walker's way more consistent. I'm just a Delaney Walker fan in general. So
yeah, he had a big 2-touchdown game his last time out because he's worth being a fan for. Mariota's going to go his way, especially with no Rashard Matthews. I think he's their best option right now. So
yeah.
Top tight end under $2,900. If you want to go Cameron Brate, go for it. But I was trying to open it up.
Under $2,900, I would go. Oh man, this is tough. I would say CJ Fedorowicz.
I like that.
Garbage.
Yeah, this is kind of difficult. I mean, I'd have to say, man, Cameron Brate. I'm just gonna say Cameron Brate. I'm going the easy answer. I'm sorry, I suck. Going the easy answer.
That's fair enough. Now, give us. You got any defense questions for us?
I mean, I think that most people want to hear who our favorite cheap defense is. I mean, we all know that we're on the Jags as the top high price option. If you're gonna pay for the Jags. But who is your favorite defense 3,000 and below? If you can give 2.
For me, it would have to be the. Man, that's tough. Honestly, I would say the Browns. Browns at 27, or the Browns at $2,100, or the Vikings at 27.
I'm gonna go with the Saints at 28, or the Jets at 25.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna go the Broncos at 3K and the Jets at 25. I think that the Jets are a pretty solid defense this week.
My favorite defense this week, though, is the Ravens at 31. That's where I'm going. Almost.
Okay. Yeah, that's definitely.
All right, gentlemen.
Again.
Yeah. That'll wrap it up. Any final words to send people on their way?
Don't play Trubisky.
Yeah. Anything from you, James?
You can build a legitimate lineup leaving almost 10K on the table this week. I just did.
I told you you're going to have $8,200 left. That's awesome.
I mean, legit. I have 10,000. I have 10.1K left. Deshaun Kaiser, Duke Johnson, Jordan Howard, Dontrell Inman, Josh Gordon, Corey Coleman, Jordan Cook, Cordell Patterson, and the Broncos defense.
You don't even have Reynolds.
No, and that's not even a bad lineup. Like, that's, dude, over 10K left.
Wow.
Ship it. I hope you hit the nuts.
Why don't you at least, put the Jags defense in? Is your goal to stay below 3K?
I was trying to stay 10K below cap, and I was able to do it. I'm pretty stoked on it, dude. Like,
do you have anybody there above 5K?
I don't think so.
Jordan Howard. Just Jordan Howard.
Okay. Well, your lineup's garbage then for taking Jordan Howard.
It's so I'm entering this, man. Like, this
oh man, that's wild. That's wild.
I hope you're duped like 10 times.
For people listening to the pod, just don't tell them what tournament you're in. That's all you gotta do.
No, let's split the millie 10 ways. All 9 of our listeners, like, let's just split the millie 10 ways. Let's do this.
Yeah, there we go. Awesome. Well, good stuff, guys. Week 13, DraftKings in the books, the 2-point conversion NFL DFS podcast. Again, you can find Bucks on Twitter at BPSnow11. Check out his work over at gupscorner.com. You got James at paydirt_DFS. He's at dailyroto.com. Check me on Twitter at BDNtrick. Lots going on. Hope everybody has a good weekend. Let's make some money, and we'll see you guys next week.